The last laugh. A female K-9 handler's redemption. The sun blazed down on a remote gas station just outside a sleepy desert town. Sergeant Olivia Carter, a decorated military K-9 handler, pulled up in her black SUV, her two highly trained Belgian Malinois, Thor and Rex, sitting obediently in the back. Dressed in tactical cargo pants and a snug military t-shirt, Olivia was used to the stares she got. Being a woman in a male-dominated field always attracted attention. As she stepped out of her vehicle to refuel, the rumbling of engines filled the air. A group of 6 burly bikers, clad in leather jackets with a flaming skull insignia, rolled into the station. They parked their gleaming Harleys, removing their helmets and stretching their arms. Their leader, a grizzled man with a thick beard and a tattoo of a cobra coiled around his neck, smirked as he laid eyes on Olivia. "Now, what do we have here?" he said loudly, nudging his fellow bikers. "A little lady playing soldier?" His companions chuckled, looking her up and down as if she were out of place. Olivia ignored them, focusing on the gas pump. She had dealt with men like these before, cocky, arrogant, and dismissive. One of the bikers, a tall, lanky man with a skull bandana, pointed at her SUV. "What's with the fancy ride? You hauling groceries for the army now?" The leader chuckled before stepping closer. "And what's this? You got little puppies back there." He peered into the SUV and saw Thor and Rex staring back at him, their golden brown eyes unblinking, their bodies tense. Olivia finally turned to face them, her gaze steady. "They're not puppies. They're military working dogs, trained to take down threats." The bikers howled with laughter. "Threats? Oh no, boys, I think she means us," one of them jeered. "What's the matter, sweetheart? Need your little mutts to protect you?" The leader, clearly enjoying himself, took another step forward. "I bet those dogs are as soft as you. Let's see if they can handle real men." Without another word, Olivia reached into her pocket and pressed a small button on her key fob. The back doors of the SUV swung open, and in a blur of fur and muscle, Thor and Rex leaped out, hitting the ground with precision. Their ears were pricked, and their eyes locked onto the bikers like predators sizing up their prey. The laughter died instantly. Thor let out a deep, guttural growl, his sharp teeth bared. Rex stood beside him, poised like a coiled spring, his muscles twitching with controlled aggression. Olivia gave a simple command in a low, firm voice: "Guard." Instantly, the two dogs lunged forward, stopping inches away from the leader, their barks deafening, their bodies radiating lethal energy. The once arrogant biker stumbled backward, his bravado vanishing. The other bikers scrambled to put distance between themselves and the animals, their faces pale. Olivia smirked. "Not so funny now, is it?" The leader, visibly shaken, tried to maintain some dignity. All right, lady, call him off." She took her time before giving another command. "Stand down." Thor and Rex immediately sat, but their eyes never left the bikers. The leader exhaled, brushing off his jacket. "Geez, you could have warned us." Olivia crossed her arms. "I did. You just didn't listen." The bikers exchanged glances, their embarrassment evident. The leader gave a stiff nod. "All right, respect. Those are some mean dogs you got there." She gave him a knowing smile. "Not just dogs, soldiers." As she loaded Thor and Rex back into the SUV, the bikers quietly mounted their bikes, their earlier bravado completely extinguished. Olivia finished refueling, got into her vehicle, and drove off, the last laugh firmly hers. Some lessons, she thought, had to be learned the hard way. As Olivia drove away from the gas station, she kept an eye on her rearview mirror. The bikers were still there, standing in silence, their egos bruised. She smirked to herself. Men like them were all bark and no bite. But just as she turned onto the highway, her instincts flared. Something wasn't right. She glanced at her side mirror and saw a cloud of dust rising in the distance. The low roar of motorcycle engines rumbled through the air. The bikers were following her. Thor and Rex sensed the tension immediately, their ears perking up as they lay in the back seat. Olivia stayed calm. If they wanted trouble, she wasn't about to be caught off guard. The road stretched out ahead, barren and endless, cutting through the desert like a scar. She kept her hands steady on the wheel, watching as the bikers gained on her. Then, the leader pulled up beside her window, signaling for her to stop. His face was unreadable behind his dark sunglasses, but Olivia wasn't naive. She knew intimidation when she saw it. She didn't stop. Instead, she reached down, pressing a switch on her dashboard. The SUV's back window slid open, giving Thor and Rex full view of the approaching bikers. The two dogs immediately positioned themselves, their bodies rigid with anticipation. The leader revved his engine, trying to swerve closer. That was his mistake. With a single command from Olivia, engage, Thor let out a menacing snarl, his massive frame lunging halfway out the window. His jaws snapped so close to the biker's gloved hand that the man swerved in panic, barely keeping his bike upright. Rex followed suit, barking ferociously at the other riders, sending them into disarray. One biker lost control and veered off the road, kicking up sand and gravel as he struggled to regain balance. "Call them OFF," the leader yelled, now clearly panicked. Olivia slowed just enough to roll down her window. She met his eyes, her expression ice-cold. "You wanted to see if they could handle real men," she said. "Well, do you still think they're just puppies?" The leader gritted his teeth, breathing hard. His tough act was gone, replaced by sheer fear. With a final glare, he yanked his bike away from her SUV and motioned for his gang to back off. One by one, they peeled away, turning back toward the gas station, their tails tucked between their legs. Only when they disappeared from view did Olivia give her final command. "Stand down." Thor and Rex instantly relaxed, their eyes still sharp but their bodies at ease. Olivia reached back and ruffled their fur. "Good boys," she murmured. She pressed the gas pedal and sped off down the highway, leaving nothing behind but a trail of dust and the lesson those bikers would never forget. Some people underestimated her, but they never did it twice. As Olivia drove down the highway, the tension in her muscles slowly eased. Thor and Rex had settled back into their spots, their tongues lolling slightly as the wind rushed in through the cracked windows. The encounter had rattled the bikers, but Olivia knew men like them, prideful, reckless. Sometimes fear wasn't enough to make them back down for good. And she was right. Minutes later, she noticed headlights in the distance. At first, she thought they were just another set of passing vehicles. But as the lights grew closer and the familiar rumble of motorcycles reached her ears, her gut told her otherwise. The bikers weren't done. Olivia clenched her jaw, gripping the steering wheel. This wasn't just a case of bruised egos anymore. They were chasing her down, and this time, she knew they weren't just looking to throw insults. With a swift motion, she pressed another switch on her dashboard, activating the SUV's built-in security cameras. If they tried anything stupid, she'd have proof. But more importantly, she was ready. The leader, the same bearded man with the cobra tattoo, pulled up alongside her window again, signaling for her to stop. His expression was no longer amused. It was cold, calculating. Olivia didn't stop. Instead, she flicked her wrist and turned the SUV sharply to the right, cutting onto a dirt road. The bikers hesitated but followed. The rugged terrain slowed them slightly, giving Olivia a small advantage. But she wasn't running. She was leading them. Up ahead, she spotted what she was looking for, an abandoned industrial lot surrounded by a chain-link fence. Perfect. She gunned the accelerator and burst through the open gates. The bikers followed, dust kicking up behind them as they entered the lot. Olivia slammed the brakes, causing her SUV to skid to a sharp stop. The bikers circled her vehicle, revving their engines like a pack of wolves closing in on their prey. The leader dismounted first, cracking his knuckles. "Into the road, soldier girl," he sneered. "You think you can make a fool out of us and just drive away?" Olivia unbuckled her seatbelt slowly. "I didn't make a fool out of you," she said evenly. "You did that yourselves." The other bikers laughed, but there was an edge to it, like they were trying to regain control of the situation. The leader stepped closer. "You got guts, I'll give you that. But you're outnumbered." He smirked. "No mutts to protect you now." Olivia chuckled. "Oh, you still don't get it, do you?" With one swift motion, she whistled sharply. The back doors of her SUV flew open, and Thor and Rex exploded out like missiles. The reaction was instant. Thor lunged straight for the leader, knocking him onto his back before he even had time to react. Rex went for another biker, snapping at his arm and sending him scrambling away with a yelp. The bikers panicked, their bravado completely shattered. One man reached for a weapon, but Olivia moved faster. With a quick strike, she disarmed him, twisting his wrist and sending his knife skidding across the pavement. Thor kept his jaws clamped inches from the leader's throat, his deep growl vibrating in the air. The man didn't dare move. "Call them off," he gasped, eyes wide with terror. Olivia crouched down beside him. "You thought I needed protection," she said calmly. "But the truth is, you were the ones in danger all along." The leader swallowed hard, sweat beading on his forehead. All right, all right, we get it. Just call him off. Olivia let the moment stretch a little longer before giving a quiet command. Stand down. Immediately, Thor and Rex backed away, but their piercing gazes never left the bikers. The leader scrambled to his feet, chest heaving. He looked around at his men, all of them shaken and bruised. Then, without another word, he turned and stalked back to his bike. The others didn't hesitate to follow. Engines roared to life, and within seconds, they sped off into the night, disappearing like ghosts into the desert. Olivia exhaled, standing tall as the dust settled. Thor and Rex sat beside her, their tongues lolling as if nothing had happened. She smiled and patted their heads. Good boys. She climbed back into her SUV, watching as the last of the taillights vanished over the horizon. She had no doubt those men would think twice before underestimating a military K-9 handler again. With a final glance in the rearview mirror, she smirked. The lesson was learned. And this time, there was no laughter,